Welcome to the deep dive. Even by the rapid pace of change we've seen recently, 2025 is really shaping up to be a year of pretty significant disruption in the world of work. We're talking sustained talent shortages, tech advancements just accelerating like crazy, and this widespread change fatigue. It's a lot to navigate, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And what's really striking is that executives are facing this incredibly volatile environment, right? But at the same time, they're getting pressured by stakeholders to cut costs and chase faster growth. It's a genuinely complex tightrope walk.
You got it. So our mission today is to give you a real shortcut to understanding these critical forces. We've been digging into a fascinating HBR.org article, 9 Trends That Will Shape Work in 2025 and Beyond. It pulls heavily from recent Gartner research.
Yeah, some really solid data in there.
We basically tried to sift through the noise for you.
That's right. And this article, it lays out 9 key predictions. They're grouped under 3 core challenges. First, these new demands for a future-ready workforce. Second, the evolving roles of managers. And third, emerging talent risks.
Okay.
So our goal is really to pull out the most impactful nuggets for you so you can stay informed, stay competitive as we head into, well, what looks like a really transformative year.
All right, let's jump right into that. First big challenge then, new demands for a future-ready workforce. And the first trend they talk about it's quite something, the looming loss of expertise. We're looking at a projected surge in retirements in 2025, like a bigger slice of the workforce hitting retirement than ever before.
Yeah.
That's a massive drain of experience.
It really is. And here's where it gets particularly interesting or maybe concerning. AI has increasingly taken over roles that junior employees used to hold, interns, entry-level support teams, that kind of thing.
Right, traditional starting points.
Exactly. So this raises a huge question. How are future experts going to develop their skills if those basic on-the-job learning chances are, well, shrinking? The insight here isn't just about losing older workers. It's that AI is kind of inadvertently dismantling the traditional apprenticeship model. Organizations now have to figure out totally new ways to build skills. It's a pretty profound shift, actually.
That's a really powerful point. And it's not just theoretical, is it? There was a Gartner survey, May 2024, I think, found 6 out of 10 employees already feel like they aren't getting the coaching they need for their core skills.
Yeah, that number is striking.
So how are companies starting to deal with this developing challenge of building skills?
Well, to tackle this expertise strain, organizations are trying to build what they're calling collective intelligence using tech.
Collective intelligence.
Yeah. So it involves things like dedicated knowledge management teams who take expert workflows, stuff from Teams posts, Q&As, even emails, and turn them into these digestible micro-learnings.
Ah, okay. Little bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. So imagine like an internal system where an employee doing a specific task, maybe a new sales report, automatically gets prompted with a short video or a quick article pulled straight from how a senior person actually does it. It's about making that informal knowledge systematic.
Interesting. And I guess that challenge ties right into how companies are rethinking their structures for AI, which is trend 2. Organizational restructuring for AI readiness. CEOs everywhere see AI as this huge growth engine, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
But in 2024, our existing structures, they were like a roadblock. Confusing decision rights, too many approval layers, complex hierarchies, rigid job roles. They really held AI back.
That's exactly it. And if you zoom out a bit, leaders are realizing those same old structures will probably hold them back from whatever comes after AI, too.
Good point.
So in 2025, executives are planning some pretty substantive changes. They're looking at flatter structures, less hierarchy, centralizing some corporate functions maybe to cut duplication and get clearer authority, and investing big time in agile learning for cross-functional teams.
Yeah.
The core idea is really that for AI to work well, the organization itself needs to be more fluid, more responsive.
Makes sense. But even with flatter structures, how do you make sure people actually, collaborate better? That brings us to trend 3, bridging collaboration gaps with nudgetech.
Nudgetech, right?
There's a bit of a worrying trend here. Collaboration satisfaction is actually going down. That 2024 Gartner survey, nearly 18,000 employees, only 29% were satisfied with collaboration. That's down from 36% in 2021.
Yeah, and that drop is significant because we know collaboration impacts performance directly.
Definitely. So what's this nudgetech solution?
So nudgetech is this emerging category of AI tools designed to enable personalized communication, but at scale.
Okay, like how?
Well, imagine your internal chat tool maybe gives you a gentle suggestion to rephrase a message, make it more direct. Or it prompts you to follow up with a colleague via email because it knows they prefer that over chat.
Huh. Based on their habits?
Exactly. Or it could remind a manager about a direct report-specific working style just before a meeting. Or even generate custom communication tips for a tricky conversation.
Wow.
The idea is it helps improve communication and subtly nudges behavior change, making interactions more effective, kind of smoothing the edges.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. Second core challenge, the evolving role of managers. And trend 4 is, well, it's pretty thought-provoking. Employees embracing bots over bosses for fairness.
Yeah, this one's fascinating.
It's a paradox, right? Management by algorithm can feel kind of alienating, yet employees seem to think bots are actually fairer than human managers sometimes.
It really makes you question our assumptions about bias, doesn't it? Human versus algorithm. There is a June 2024 Gartner survey, over 3,300 employees, and 57% believed humans were more biased than AI for compensation decisions.
57%, wow.
And get this, an October 2024 survey showed 87%, almost 9 out of 10, thought algorithms could give fairer feedback than their managers right now.
That's huge.
The insight seems to be that the perceived impartiality of AI is starting to trump the desire for human touch in certain management areas.
So if that's the trend, what does it mean for managers going forward? It sounds like bots might take over more of the routine, quantifiable tasks, especially things that are digital or maybe use IoT sensors.
Yeah, that seems likely. Things that can be tracked and measured easily. Managers then become more like the crucial human in the loop.
Okay, so validating the AI.
Exactly. Verifying, validating those AI recommendations, making the final judgment call. It's less about direct oversight, more about strategic validation.
Which leads us right into trend 5. Retaining high performers in the age of AI. If AI tools are getting so good they can make, let's say, average performers look really productive.
That's the challenge.
How do leaders tell the difference? How do you spot genuine, independent, high performance versus just cleverly augmented output?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It has huge implications for your talent pipeline, for succession planning. If you can't accurately differentiate performance, how do you identify your true rising stars? How do you reward fairly?
Yeah, exactly.
This is where HR becomes absolutely critical. They'll need to develop really clear guidelines on what's acceptable AI use in work.
Right.
And train managers to spot over-reliance on AI. It could fundamentally change how we recognize and reward contributions, maybe shifting focus more towards critical thinking, complex problem solving, less on just raw output.
Okay, that makes sense. Now on to trend 6, the shift to inclusion and belonging. We definitely saw DEI initiatives face a lot more politicization and scrutiny in 2024, created some anxiety for leaders.
Yeah, that was certainly a noticeable shift, a lot of public debate around it.
But for 2025, it seems most organizations are pivoting their investments slightly. The main focus is shifting towards fostering inclusion and belonging for all employees, viewing that as a competitive edge.
Right. It's about creating an environment where absolutely everyone feels valued, feels connected, feels like they belong.
So diversity isn't the goal anymore.
No, not quite. What's really impactful here is how they're framing it. Diversity doesn't become unimportant. Instead, it becomes an outcome of doing inclusion and belonging well.
Oh. Yeah.
Think about things like standardized, fair recruiting, truly inclusive management practices, really focusing on collaboration across different groups.
Got it.
The insight is, if your diversity numbers then start to decline, that's a strong signal that your inclusion efforts aren't working properly. It treats diversity as a result, focusing on fixing the underlying environment first. It's about the roots, not just the visible fruit, you know.
Interesting framing. Okay, let's move to our third and final core challenge. Emerging talent risks to the organization. Trend 7 is a bit of a warning. When AI first destroys productivity.
Yeah, the cautionary tale.
There are real risks, unpredictable costs with new AI tools, more friction in workflows, needing to redesign roles, employees just not adopting it.
And this really makes you pause and ask, is this tech actually helping? There was a July 2024 Gartner survey where 1 in 5 employees said new tech rolled out in the last 2 years actually made their job harder.
1 in 5, that's not great.
Not great at all. It shows just throwing AI at a problem doesn't guarantee anything.
So what's the alternative? Progressive organizations are adopting this human-first approach.
Exactly. putting people truly at the center, designing tech features to serve their needs. And HR, in this model, takes a lead role in AI governance.
Oh, so?
By actively bringing in employee feedback on workflows, on retraining needs, on how roles need to change, even on how performance is measured to encourage the right behaviors with the tech.
So designing AI with employees, not just for them.
Precisely. And the impact is pretty significant. Gartner found when companies do this, employees are 1.5 times more likely to be high performers and 2.3 times more highly engaged. It really pays off.
Well, okay. That connects nicely to Trend 8. Loneliness becomes a business risk. The U.S. Surgeon General called loneliness a public health crisis back in 2023.
I remember that report.
And now it's being framed not just as a well-being issue, but as an acute business risk. It hits engagement, it hits performance.
Absolutely. The numbers really back this up. That 2024 Gartner survey, again, only 29% of employees globally feel satisfied with coworker interactions, down sharply from 36% in 2021.
And here's the kicker, the really counterintuitive bit. Proximity isn't the fix. On-site workers have actually been less satisfied with interactions than hybrid or remote folks since 2021.
Yeah, that finding really shatters the myth that just forcing people back to the office automatically solves connection problems.
It clearly doesn't.
So if we link this back to strategy, organizations are starting to treat loneliness like any other major business risk. They're deliberately designing interventions.
Like what?
Things like guided collaboration, identifying who needs connection support, providing structured chances for positive interaction. Gartner found companies doing this meet their profit goals 10% more often.
10%, that's substantial.
It is. And we're seeing some creative approaches, too,
Right.
like the dating app Hinge giving employees $100 a month to go on dates, or companies offering specific days off just for volunteering, anything to build real connection.
Interesting. Okay, finally, Trend 9. Employee activism driving responsible AI norms. AI adoption feels pretty much inevitable now, right?
Seems that way across most industries.
But who's setting the rules for how it's used responsibly? That July 2024 Gartner survey of CIOs found only 21% were focused on mitigating negative AI impacts on employee work, and just 20% on employee well-being related to AI. That feels like a gap.
It does feel like a gap, which begs the question, if leaders aren't fully prioritizing the potential downsides, who steps up?
Right.
And what we're seeing is, in the absence of decisive action from companies or government or even the tech vendors, employees are taking the lead.
Through activism.
Yeah, through collective action, protests, open letters, internal advocacy groups, they're shaping the norms from the ground up.
Yeah.
And what's really transformative is how some progressive organizations are actually embracing this. They're co-creating their AI strategy and values with employees, crowdsourcing use cases, building in diverse feedback channels right into the design process.
So employee voice becomes a governance tool.
Exactly. It's not just about morale anymore. It's becoming a critical governance mechanism for this powerful new technology.
Okay, so we've covered these 9 trends. What does this all mean for you, the listener? The article poses some really key questions to chew on. Like, which of these shifts are likely to hit your organization hardest? Which ones will affect your most critical talent segments in the next couple of years?
And maybe most importantly, which trends pose a real threat to your strategic goals if you don't act on them? Get ahead of them.
Right, and flipping that.
Yeah, looking at the flip side, consider which of these trends might actually offer a unique opportunity, a chance to differentiate your organization either with talent or with customers. Finding those spots where you can gain a comparative advantage, that's where you'll likely see a bigger return on investment. It's about positioning yourself strategically in this, rapidly evolving landscape.
It's definitely clear that 2025 is bringing some major shifts. Workforce demands, manager roles, these new talent risks, it's happening across the board. The world of work is really transforming right in front of us. Lots of challenges, but also, some incredible opportunities in there too.
Absolutely. And so maybe a final thought for you to mull over as you move forward from this deep dive. With AI changing work and human interactions so fast, how will you start to redefine what high performance and maybe even true connection look like, both in your professional life and maybe even personally?
Good question.
And what proactive steps could you maybe take now to help shape that future rather than just, reacting to whatever comes next?